What is going on, investors? Hopefully you guys are having a great day out there. Time to talk about Peloton Interactive, ticker symbol PTON. We see during the regular session, this stock was up about $10, and we see in the after hours down about $12. So basically wiping out a lot of that. When we get over the stock chart, this one's at a very, very interesting level. So we'll talk about if you want to buy this one, if you want to trade this one. I think we've got a setup here with Peloton. Now, some interesting stuff going on with Peloton. Obviously, this is kind of older news. This was back in December, but this is really a big deal. Okay, they bought this Pre-Core company. I don't know if this deal has totally finalized or if this production has gotten online, but basically they bought this company that's one of a leader in manufacturing fitness equipment here in the United States, in North Carolina and in Washington State. And that should help Peloton, because when we take a look at their most recent earnings, they're having trouble keeping up with demand. And I know this firsthand. I've been on the Peloton site. I want to get one of the treadmills, and it's like a 3-month wait. And then got another one coming out here in a month or two. And gosh knows, I'll probably have to wait 2 or 3 months if I want one of those. So I can understand that there's demand for their products, but a lot of people have been maybe putting off a purchase because the wait times are so long. Obviously, management helped digest that. Now let's jump over the numbers. Let's keep in mind this company has a $43 billion valuation. I just did a video on Ford, so at that, like at the same valuation. Can't believe Peloton is worth almost as much as Ford. Ford has hundreds of billions of dollars in sales. Now, we don't have that here with Peloton here. We've got 3 months ended here. We've got 6 months ended here. I could show you the balance sheet as well. Spoiler alert, it's absolutely fantastic when you keep in mind this is a company that just went public not that long ago, okay? They've got some cash sitting on the balance sheet, and everything looks really, really, really strong, okay? They don't have any debt or anything like that. So it's a clean company in terms of that sense. Look, total liabilities come in at about $2 billion. You have that almost sitting on the balance sheet in cash. Basically, you do. So it's a clean company from balance sheet perspective. Now, from a revenue perspective, oh my goodness, this company is growing quickly. Okay, we've got 3 months ended here. We got 6 months ended here. Imagine if this company was able to fulfill all their demand. I think these numbers would be even more spectacular. Take a look. Last year in December, we made $390 million. All the way up to $870 million, almost, not quite, but almost 3 times, a little less than that. We've got subscription up from $77 million all the way up to $194 million. And this year have juicy margins. We'll talk about that here in a second. Now, for the 6 months, everything's looking great. Look, we went from $550 up to $1.4 billion. On the subscription side, more than doubled that, from $144 up to $351 million. Holy cow, this company is growing really quickly. So we've got total revenues. Last year, through 6 months, we had 694. Now we're all the way up to $1.8 billion. Just in the most recent quarter, we crossed $1 billion in total revenue. That is phenomenal. If this company can get their manufacturing up to speed, boy, oh boy, these numbers would likely be even more impressive. Now, here's what's impressive. Okay, cost of revenue is down here. So we've got our connected fitness products, the bikes, the treadmills, things like that. We spent $562 in the most recent quarter to make $870. Good margins, not bad. Okay, here's where it gets exciting. Subscription, we spent $77.2 to make a whopping $194 million. That's the beauty of this company. If they can get these darn bikes and treadmills out to customers, you can enjoy this juicy subscription model month after month after month. That's mega high margin. So we've got total cost of revenue in the most recent quarter here at $640 to make $1.06 billion. That's really strong. Okay, on $1.06 billion in revenue, you have gross profit at $424 million. That is why this company has a massive valuation, and over the last year, this stock is up 300%. That is phenomenal type of gross margin. Okay, so total revenue for the last 6 months, $1.8 billion. We grossed out $753 million. Boy, they flow a lot of money down into the gross profit. Now, not full story. Look, we got to sell and marketing these things. We got a general administrative, and we got research and development as well. And I see that ticked up in the most recent quarter, probably good as they're approaching some new product lines that are soon to hit here in a month or two. Now, we got total operating expenses coming in at 366. Take a look. We actually made a nice little profit, okay? We had our gross profit here of 424. We spent another 366 on our operating expenses. That means we grossed out $58 million in the quarter. So if you want to annualize that number out a little bit, you're getting, it's a $44 billion valuation. Tough to make sense of that, okay? Maybe from the top line perspective, top line growth perspective, gross profit perspective, yeah, maybe you can make an argument from that. From an income from operations, not quite yet, okay? Company hasn't scaled up quite that well yet. Now, for the last 6 months, we're at 127. But again, it's phenomenal growth over the previous period. We lost 112 and now we're positive 127. Keep that kind of momentum. And yes, I don't know if it'll eventually grow into this $40 billion valuation, but it'll make more sense to more investors out there. So moving on to, everything looks really good to me with this company. Okay, they do have some stock-based compensation expense. You want to keep that in mind when we just went through those numbers. I mean, you see here, there's a fair amount of this that is actually stock-based compensation and it's not cash. Okay. But again, like I always say on the channel, you got to pay, your workers with either cash or stock. They're not going to work for napkins or anything like that. So that is something that you want to keep in mind. Now, moving over the stock chart, this one is hugging. I mean, it's literally just sitting on our line right here at $144.90 per share. This is the bottom end of a range that I have traced out here over the last, this goes back into December. So we're almost 2 months into this kind of trend line. This level has held right at we'll call it 140. We'll bump it up to 145. Okay. Just to make it easy for everybody to understand and remember this level. 145 is a key level with Peloton. If we're able to hold this level, this stock will likely bounce up into this box here that I have traced out. I think the upper end of this range is in the 160 range. So if you want to set up a trade with this one, I think you could come in here at 145, set a stop loss, maybe $4 or $5 under it, right around 140, and hope to ride this up to the top of the range, which it's done. Look, we hit bottom here. We went way over our range. Okay. We came down here, hit bottom again, went back up, came back down here, hit bottom again, came back up. If that pattern continues with Peloton, look, you've got a nice little trade here where you can risk maybe $4 or $5 on the downside and make, $10 to $15 on the upside. So that's personally what I see here with Peloton. It'll go on a watch list for me in terms of that kind of setup. If you want to go long this one, if you already have shares, you're really super excited about Peloton, you like the gross margin, well, this is not a bad spot to add. Just keep in mind, if we break this 145 level, if this level doesn't hold, more sellers show up, well, there's some green grass underneath this thing. This thing could fall quite a bit, 10, 15, maybe even $20 per share before it finds some levels of support. I just see this in the shorter term, actually a pretty good setup. This one's going to go on my watch list, my swing trade watch list, see if we can't set up a trade for this one. Anytime you got a really nice quality stock that drops this much on earnings that are really based on not being able to meet demand, yeah, I kind of like that. So that was Peloton. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. We'll be back again soon. Good luck with your investments.